Russia targeting Ukraine with another deadly missile and drone attack on its capital of Kyiv.
It comes as President Trump is set to meet with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy at Mar-a-Lago today to discuss a 20-point peace plan to end the war.
Fox News contributor Dan Hoffman served in Moscow as a former CIA station chief, and he joins us now. Thanks for getting up with us this morning, Dan. Great to see you. So set this meeting up for us right now. What do you expect to come out of this meeting at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, after having spent decades of my CIA career trying to see the world through the twisted eyes of Vladimir Putin and taking into account his KGB background, I would say that, unfortunately, negotiations with Ukraine have passed as prologue. That's just the road to nowhere, unfortunately. Ukraine has negotiated in good faith. They've made concessions after concessions. However, Russia continues one barrage of missile and drone attacks after another, most recently a couple of days ago, launching attacks on Kyiv and destroying Ukraine's critical infrastructure. So we can continue to negotiate with Ukraine as much as we like, but really the sticking point here is when does Vladimir Putin, and how do we get Vladimir Putin to stop this barbaric war on Ukraine, which has cost so many lives?
So, Dan, to follow up on that, how do we get him to stop Putin?
Well, President Trump has offered Vladimir Putin a way out, a way for Russia to re-engage with the rest of the world economically, and President Putin has refused. Putin's objective from the very beginning was to overthrow the democratically elected government of Ukraine, and he's failed at that at incredible cost to his own country, over 1 million casualties. He's wrecked his own economy. And so I think the way to stop Russia is literally to stop them in place, to stop their army from advancing another inch of territory, make it clear that the war is a loser for Vladimir Putin. The way you do that is you get NATO to continue to give Ukraine the military equipment and the financial assistance they need. I think that's the way ultimately we're going to have to stop this. The offers to Putin, the negotiations have led nowhere.
But at what cost in terms of Ukrainian deaths or financial costs from Western allies and powers?
Well, Vladimir Putin would like to ask that question, because
I think it's a fair question.
Unfortunately, are both bad. One is for Ukraine to fight on in self-defense, which is what they've done, and the other is simply to capitulate and agree to all of Vladimir Putin's terms, which means that Ukraine would be subjugated to Russia.
Right.
And from Ukraine's perspective, sometimes you have to fight for your defense of your country, and that's where we're at right now.
So, Dan, Putin has been immovable on his demand for the Donbass region. He wants control. He wants to annex it, much like he did Crimea. But I think what has moved here, what's new, is that Zelenskyy is now open to this idea of possibly withdrawing some troops from the Donbass for security guarantees, much like a Article 5 NATO guarantee. And that would then create this demilitarized zone. This is all new. Do you see that going anywhere?
Right. President Zelenskyy has made that concession as well. However, Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Ryabkov has already rejected that. And so, look, I think what Vladimir Putin wants is for the United States to negotiate with Ukraine so that the Trump administration and our media direct the frustration over the failure to result in an end to this war at Ukraine rather than where it belongs, at Russia. And so, yes, we can continue to have these negotiations and discussions with Ukraine. That's the easy part. They want peace. It's just that Putin won't give it to them, unfortunately. And look, the Trump administration should be lauded for trying everything we possibly could to bring an end to this war that you might argue never would have begun had we deterred Russia years ago. The Biden administration failed to do that. However, we are where we are.
Well, we will be watching, and it'll be a very interesting meeting, no doubt. Dan Hoffman, thank you so much for talking to us.
All right. Thanks.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.